Hello, City Bestie. Aku a kid named Rufus. Check out my interview with CreativeDisc, the number one music website in Indonesia.
Hello, City Bestie. Welcome back to another CreativeDisc exclusive interview with me, Luthfi. Right now, we have a guest coming from New York City, but originally coming from a country near us, Malaysia. They already releasing a new album called Whatever Works, and tell us about the journey navigating their life in 20s, living in a country that they didn't know yet. Their album is so honest with straight to your face lyrics. So let's talk more about their music and sound with my guest today. This is a kid named Rufus.
Hello, how's it going?
Yeah, it's good in here. You are in NYC right now, right?
Yeah, I've been here for the last 9 months.
Oh, what's NYC?
Wow, that's a very good question. New York City is chaotic. There,
Really?
New York City is so chaotic. Oh my God, it's probably, I think it's like Jakarta times like a million. There's just so many people. There's just so many things going on all the time. Everyone's noisy. Everyone's chaotic. There's
Mm.
just like everyone's. It's just so. I think electric is like a really good word to describe it.
Mm.
Um, and there's just you can never not do something in New York. There's like always something going on. Sometimes like good stuff, bad stuff. Like there's just always like it's been a very like just back to back to back 9 months of just like living here. I feel like I've done something every single day. It's really fun. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, what's the worst? New York City, Kuala Lumpur, or Jakarta?
What's the worst? No, well, I
Yes.
can't. I can't say that. I think no,
The,
absolutely not. No, because
the
they're all different. You see,
really though.
like they're all like so different. Like I love like obviously I love KL because it's my hometown,
Mm,
right? Like it's like where I grew up,
mm,
and I love Jakarta because there's so much culture.
yeah.
Like there's just there are so many similarities to it back home, but also like it's its own scene. There are so many things to do, just like even like within Indonesia
Mm,
itself. um and then New York City, it's America. It's like America's version of like what a city is supposed to be, right? So it's very like in your face. It's very
mm.
like, it's like I do whatever the hell I want. Like and it's just like that's what America is, and like New York is the definition of that. So I feel like for that reason, like I can't say I love them all equally.
Mm,
Like everything, it's a very different experience. Like
mm.
where you go, and I think it's a good experience. Like New York, KL, and Jakarta, like they're so good in their own like unique ways.
Okay, so let's talk more about your life in the Big Apple City, but but let's talk more about your music first. So, if you don't mind, can you tell us what's so unique about a kid named Rufus music?
What's so unique? Well, I think um well, that's a great question. I think what makes my music unique is that I have lived a lot of like life. I lived a really amazing life growing up in Malaysia,
Mm,
and like when I started making music, I was in a very sort of dark place
mm,
like in my life in high school.
mm,
And and like when I started making music, it came from a place of like honesty and like emotion,
mm.
and trying to like map those emotions out. And I think and it just like sort of like blew up. And so I think that's what makes my music unique. It's very honest, and I try and be as creative as possible. Like when I'm producing and writing, I
Mm.
try to make every song a little bit different. I try and like push the boundaries with like like with like whatever I learn. I feel like every song keeps getting better and better. That's what like I think makes me unique as an artist. Like that's what differentiates a kid named Rufus from everything else, from everybody else.
Oke, so mari kita nak cakap tentang album barunya, Whatever Works. Tell me more about this album.
Whatever Works is an album about my experiences moving from Malaysia to the US. And so some of the things that I experienced living in the US, like, being homesick, meeting new friends and falling out of touch with them, falling in love, falling out of love, being an adult, learning how to like handle like being an adult, having a job, like paying your bills, stuff like that. Because like I don't know, like school never taught me that. But honestly, like my parents haven't taught me that. You know, no one teaches you how no one teaches you how to do your taxes. No one teaches you like how to do like these things. I mean, because like it was COVID, right? At like I remember like I couldn't get my driver's license. And yeah, so I typically, right, because like at least in Malaysia, like you get your motorbike at 16 and then you get your car at 17, right? And so I was 17 when COVID happened, and I didn't get my driver's license just because what's a JPJ is what it's called, the like automotive, like the driver's license
Yeah.
place in Malaysia. It was closed. They weren't taking like lessons. They were doing nothing. So well, I had to learn how to drive here. And so it was just things like that. It was like back to back to back. That was just I had to learn so many things on the spot, and I was on my own. Right, my parents were still back. Like, they were still in KL. I was the only one that left, and so it was just like different things like that. I realized that I was like really alone in this, and that's like taught me like a lot of life lessons. And so that's why I like wanted to write the album, because I just there were just so many things that to talk about. It needed like some sort of place. I needed some sort of like outlet, to like talk about it.
So this is the interesting things that I want to ask you. Why yourself
Mhm.
called this album Whatever Works? Because I think like I think in my opinion, like you tell a song, you write a song, and you make it until the final track, until it whatever works. I think
Mhm.
the meaning is like that too for me when I listen to your album.
Yeah. The reason why I called it Whatever Works is because I think when I was like dealing with all the different things I was going through, right? There was just so many things happening. I had to like get adjusted to things very quickly living here. Um, I think a lot of the time I didn't really have time to like process it the way that I wanted to. I didn't have time to like I think like make decisions the way that I wanted to, right? So everything is just like very fast. So I like a lot of the time I was just like, okay, screw it, whatever works, right? I will just like do like as like as things happen, I will like handle them. I will like I figured a lot of things out like on the go, because everything was ever changing. I felt like the world was ending. It was just like it was such a weird time, and also like then coming to a different country, not knowing what anything was. So that yeah, that's why I called it Whatever Works. Just because like I had to just like say yes. I just had to like do. I just had to
Yeah, but why the cover art of your album is a wizard?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
Do you really want to know? I was bored in
Yes.
class one day and I was drawing on my iPad and I drew a wizard. And I said, I don't care what the album is called. This is the cover art. Like this just is. I didn't do it. What what I ended up doing was I worked with this artist. He's based in the UK. His name is Rob Davis, and I sent it to him, and he was like, hey, this is like something I drew in class one day, can you like remake it, because I really like his art style. And so the cover art that came out with the album, that was done by him, but the original art, I still have that on my phone. Like that's like I remember I don't I I I think I probably drew it 2 years ago. I was like it was my second year of like university, and I was just really bored, and I just bought my iPad to like take notes. So yeah, and then instead of taking notes, I drew, and but I was just like, this is really cool. I don't know, I don't really care what it's called. It just looks nice, and like I wanted to be the cover art. That was it. It was literally it. It came from a drawing that I did.
Ooh, it really your works is whatever works.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Speaking about the lyrics on this album, I found this is interesting because this album felt actually really honest without many metaphor language. I think like you tell the song straight to your face, like
Yeah.
it's like you telling yourself a story to your friend. Like, is there any reason behind it?
I think I think, I like the idea of like my music being very jarring. I think like I'm a very like I think I have a very out there personality, and sometimes like I kind of want the music to like reflect that. So I don't mind being completely honest, but also when I've been in the room with like a lot of writers and producers ever since moving here, I've realized that every I think like the best lyrics are about specificity and being just completely honest, telling it as it is. There's no point in finding metaphors for things, because then you're just gonna hide like like maybe important detail in your lyrics. So I think when I was writing this album, I realized I don't have like there's no one's stopping me. I have complete control. Like, so I'm gonna say it however I want. And so I think like that's why the lyrics are, I mean, especially like on some songs, are very, very like they're out there. Like it's like, wow, oh my god, okay, cool, this is happening. Like we're talking about this right now. Um, Especially how sweet does it sound? I recommend people listen to this on their own time. Please don't show your parents how sweet does it sound. If anything, you should send your parents the album and remove how sweet does it sound. Because my mom, oh my god, when I sent that song to my mom, she was like, "What are you doing? I'm not like this is ridiculous." My sister refuses to listen to that song. Fair enough, I don't blame her. But it's cool, right? Whatever works.
Yeah. But I think that's stereotypical of Southeast Asian parents, right? You know,
Yeah, very, very typical of them.
yeah,
I'm trying to
yeah, yeah.
break the norms
Me
in a
too.
in a in a in a safe way, of course, unlike some other people. Sorry.
Okay. This is interesting because you're originally coming from Malaysia, and now living in America.
Yeah,
Like, what's your first
yeah.
experience when you are coming to America?
So, um, what are the pharmacies in Indonesia? Do you guys have like Guardian and Watsons?
Yes, 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 yes.
Or like what are the like pharmacies, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
Guardian and Watsons, right?
yeah.
So over here in the US, they don't like they're like different like pharmacies. So the big one here is called CVS.
CBS.
So I went to CVS like on my first day, just like buy things for like my dorm, right? And I was like, okay, I need a first aid kit. So I asked for plasters, right? Like
Yeah,
for like any like anything, right?
yeah.
In America, plasters are called bandages, or more commonly, band-aids. So I was talking to the cashier and I was like, "Hi, excuse me, do you have any plasters?" And she was like, "Huh?" And she's just, and so it was like a 10-minute back and forth. I was trying to explain, like, for like like when you get cuts, and then finally she was like, "Oh, a band-aid." And then I was like, "What's a band-aid?" And then she showed me what a band-aid was, and that was like my first day, and I realized, oh my god, are you kidding me? And then you know what happened? The like literally like that night, I bought eggs. I left them outside, because you can leave like in Malaysia and basically anywhere else in the world,
Yeah.
even Indonesia, you leave your eggs at room temperature. You don't put it in the fridge. In America, you have to put your eggs in the fridge, because it's a thing about pesticides, which I didn't know. So you're not actually supposed to put it, if you put your eggs at room temperature in America, it gets spoiled like immediately. So it has to be refrigerated all the time. Yes, I know. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. So I didn't know this. And so I had it out for like 3 days, and like I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna make some eggs for breakfast. And my friends were over and they were like, why are your eggs out? And I'm like, what do you mean, why are my eggs out? And they're like, you're supposed to put them in the fridge. And so once again, it became like a half an hour argument. We was like, I don't believe this. And then we were talking about, they're like, no, everyone puts their eggs in the fridge. I'm like, no, I swear to God, I never did that when growing up. And my Singaporean friend was also in the room. So I had someone to back me up, so I wasn't crazy. This literally, yeah, everything's different. Everything's flipped. Everything is just completely different.
Oh my god. But Oh my God, sorry. So sorry because it's so funny to me because in Indonesia, we put egg in the outside too. Sometimes in the fridge, but it's some
Yeah,
special case, yeah.
yeah, exactly. But it's not all the time. Everyone puts it outside,
Yeah,
but
me too.
it's just not how it works here.
OMG.
I don't like it. I'm very against it. I'm very pro. I'd like to say I'm very pro Malaysia, right? Like I still use Celsius. I still use kilometers per hour. Through important to me. It's my
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes, yes. So, okay. But what is your biggest culture shock that you experienced during living in America? The biggest one.
probably the eggs.
The egg one.
Probably the eggs.
It is the biggest
Yeah,
shock.
definitely the eggs. The biggest shock? No, they're definitely bigger shocks, but I cannot talk about them on Indonesian radio. That's for sure. So I'm gonna say eggs for now, because Americans are crazy. Americans do whatever they want.
Yeah, it
Have you been
is.
to a Pride festival here? It's unbelievable. People are literally not wearing clothes. Like it's unbelievable. Like yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's it's very very different here. I I've just done and see things that I would never do in Malaysia. That's just what life in the US is.
Mm.
Um but okay, no, truthfully, I think the biggest culture shock was um I think like you have to the US is very very big, right? So when I'm in college, I am in a very small town called Syracuse.
Yeah.
I go to Syracuse University, and it's in a town called
Oh,
Syracuse, New York,
yeah.
which is 5 hours north of New York City, and
Oh.
it's very very small. I would almost like some parts of like rural America are almost like kampungs. Like seriously, it's
Mm.
like very like spread out. It's all farms. They're a lot bigger in size, like as in like the actual farms, and it's more spread out, but it's very remote, right? Like there's probably like most of the time like there's like no reception. So I live in like an in between, I think.
Mm.
I'd probably like compare it to like I don't know. It's like if you were living in Ipoh,
Mm.
it's just very tiny,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's not much culture. There are only about 100,000 people that live in Syracuse. So I think my biggest culture shock was definitely living in a small town in the US, because that's where, right, they've had no like they haven't those are the type of places that haven't really been exposed to other cultures. So like I feel like when you hear a lot of news about like like really really crazy very conservative Americans,
Mm.
these are the type of places that we talk about because they're so
Oh.
small and they're very removed, right? So KL is huge. KL has 8 million people, seven
Yeah.
million people. Syracuse has 100,000, and my university makes up 25% of that. So
Wow.
yes, yeah.
Uh,
Um, so that was probably the biggest culture shock, just because I've never actually experienced living in a place that's small before. I've always had
mm.
access to like
Yeah.
living in a city, so there were always things to do. There were always events. There were always like new places and like new things happening. I never got bored, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never felt alone. But in Syracuse, yeah, everything's very spread out. It's very quiet, just nothing to do, and that was a very interesting experience that I like struggled to. I think I definitely struggled with it at first, but um I've like grown to like it. I think, I've grown to, like I said, like whatever works, like you have to like learn, you have to overcome, and you have to be able to find solutions to your problems, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
So okay, this is leading to my next question because I think I can relate too because I'm living in the university maybe like in a small town it is called Jatinangor. It is like if you know Bandung, it is like 25 kilometers from Bandung. It's very far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very far away
Oh,
from
okay.
Bandung, and it's a
Right. That
small
is
town
far
too.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a small city with one mall, and coming from Jakarta and coming from the small city makes me feel like uh, out of touch. I think the internet when I was there, the internet is super slow.
Mhm.
They didn't have a coffee shop, maybe like just one coffee shop, I guess. and
Mhm.
it's always full every night, I think. But right now it's very, very different. I think the 10 years later that I go on there, it's very, very, moving. Like it's very, very. They have a Starbucks now, I guess, McDonald's, and
Uh-huh.
many big brand names on there. But and
Yeah.
this is leading up to my next question, because usually if you are like nomad or perantau, you usually find many things that change your life. Did you find that when you are living in a foreign country, the lesson that changed your life, like for now?
Um, Sorry, could you ask the question just like one more time? Sorry.
Yeah. Did you like when you are living in a foreign country, you are living abroad, maybe like you usually find many things that change your life. Did you ever find one, the things that change your life, that teach you a big lesson about your life?
Oh. Oh my God. I feel like that everything on the album talked about a moment that was like a lesson that like definitely changed my life. It's
Mm.
oh my God. I have to if I had to pick one, like one really important one, um, um, I guess okay. Well, one of the songs is a breakup song. It's
Huh?
called "Stuck in San Antonio." And so yeah, so stuck in San Antonio is about the time I flew out to San Antonio, Texas.
Mm,
It's a town in
mm,
Texas. Um, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not important, but
mm,
in San Antonio, I was seeing someone that I met at college, and essentially things went really bad really quickly. She was driving under the driving under the influence. She was shouting at me. She accused me of a lot of things, and I was like, "Oh my god, what is happening?" I flew in. It was three different flights. It was
mm,
21 hours in total. Broke up with them, and then my friend drove from Austin, Texas, which is about 80 miles into kilometers is about like
mm.
140 kilometers. He drove 140 kilometers from Austin, Texas to San Antonio, Texas to pick me up, and then we drove back up, and I broke up with my girl with her on the phone. And that's what this song is about. And so if I had to pick a life, and so like I think the lesson that I'm trying to say is don't trust anyone from Texas. Yeah. So if you meet anyone, if you know Indonesians, if you like meet any like Matsales that are like hi, I'm from America. I was born and raised in Texas. Do not trust them. Send them back home. Um, put them in a grab and like back to the airport. Um, if you work at a hotel, if you're checking them in, check them out. If you're like at a restaurant, if they're serving you, spit on their food. Or you know what, just pack it. And then don't give them the plastic bag. Yeah. So that's my no, don't actually do that, but that's like I think don't trust people too fast is like what I'm trying to say. That was obviously a joke. But don't trust people too fast. I think that's it's a very important lesson. I think like relationships and even friendships too takes a while to get to know someone before you can just really start trusting them. I think things can move very fast sometimes. You have to be very careful about that.
Yes. So, let's talk more about yourself, because I think that there's a connection with the team in your debut album. So, how did you end up being comfortable with yourself, especially in the country where all culture is melting into one melting pot?
How did I feel?
Yes, how did you feel? Like,
Um, I think well, I think in the US, I would say it's like honestly more separated than it is like a melting pot. I think certain parts of well, actually no, sorry. Let me start over. Some parts are melting pots. Like New York City is a melting pot, because it's so big.
yeah.
LA is a melting pot. Um but also like some parts of it are very removed. So I almost feel like um yes, I got to meet a lot of people of different cultures that like I probably at like ethnicities and races that I would have never like had the chance of meeting before, but also um like living in New York, I've it's probably like the first time in like a very long time that I've met so many Malaysians, so many Singaporeans, so many Indonesians, so many like Southeast Asians in general, and that feels very good. Um, but I think like I've had to practice my culture a lot. Like I've had to make an effort to like like remember like who I am, like both as ethnically like I'm Indian Sri Lankan. My mom's from India. My dad is like Sri Lankan Malaysian. So like I like try and cook a lot of Indian food. I try and like cook a lot of Sri Lankan food, which is actually a lot more difficult compared to Indian food. I try and cook a lot of Malaysian food, obviously. I like will like introduce my friends to like Malaysian restaurants. Um, I like make that a big part of my culture. Like I make that a big part of my routine as like a way of like just like practicing it, making sure that I don't forget. I think the one thing that I've been really bad at is practicing my Malay because no one here speaks Malay. I have no one to practice with. So my Malay is not good. I probably couldn't speak. Like I know like I probably know phrases, but I would have to like learn again. Like like it's so crazy to me because at one point in my life I was like pretty fluent.
Ya, 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 ya. Berarti waktu dulu you can speak cakap-cakap Malaysia sikit lah.
Yeah, sabi check out Sakit. But that's about it. That's probably like the most that I can say. Maybe I can like go to Mama or Kopitiam and order in Malay. Like I think like food things and all that. But if I like had to go to the airport, if I had to go like change my license, renew my passport, I don't know what to do.
Oh,
Like I wouldn't know. Yeah, I'd just be like, like really blur.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, so that's a leading up. We almost done with this interview. So I want you to. This is one of the hardest question in
Okay.
this interview. So I want you to mention 5 things we didn't know about Rufus.
5 things you don't know about me.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Mm, okay, my favorite color is yellow.
Okay.
My lucky number is 8.
Okay.
Um, favorite Banyak order is roti telur with kari ikan. No, sorry, kari ayam. Actually don't like kari ikan because it's a little too spicy for me. And then I always get a TOS limo.
Oh.
2, always 2.
Mm.
I never drink one because I always want another one. 4, what else?
Your favorite music, your favorite food, your favorite movie. Food, food udah.
Favorite movie. Oh, okay. Well, I'm a very big Wes Anderson fan.
Oh, me too.
He's my favorite director. Um, and 5. Oh my God, what is that? Oh, I have a sister. Most people don't know that I have a younger sister, but I do. Yeah,
Okay. What's your
she's
favorite?
19 and she lives in the UK.
What's your favorite Wes Anderson movie?
Favorite Wes Anderson movie is called The Royal Tenenbaums.
Ooh.
Fun fact. This is also a fun fact.
Yeah.
Currently, where I live in New York, I live 5 streets away from where they shot the Royal Tenenbaums. It is walking distance from my apartment.
So lucky.
I pass by all the time. Yeah, no, I am, and I didn't know about this until like a couple weeks ago, actually.
Oh my goodness, that's so random. So, okay. This is last question. What's next for a kid named Rufus?
There are collabs on its
Mhm.
way. There is definitely new music on its way, and I am just really really excited to like start writing. Hopefully there are also some shows in the pipeline. Fingers crossed. It looks like it possibly might happen or not, but possibly some shows next year in Southeast Asia, which I'm excited about. Yeah.
I will waiting for you in Jakarta.
If you
Yeah.
if I play a show in Jakarta, when I play a show in Jakarta, you'll be invited, and I'll make sure you get backstage passes. We'll give you the whole VIP treatment,
Yes. Dan kita akan
and then we can do a little mamak run
iya, iya.
afterwards. Yeah, after the show.
Iya, 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 iya. Kita
Yeah, on me, obviously.
iya, 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 iya. Thank you. Kita harus cakap-cakap Malay lah nanti.
Yeah, you'll help me brush up for sure. I'll try.
Because
I'll do
because
my best.
because I'm originally from, my mother is from Aceh, if you know. It is like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it is Sumatra. So I think like Malay. I think like I have a Malay descent too because it's like
Okay,
the
cool.
north of the Sumatra,
Yeah.
and many people like speaking the dialect is very same like Malaysia, the Aceh one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Got
So
it. Yeah.
yeah.
That's so cool. That's really, really cool.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Rufus, talking with fellow Southeast Asia living in abroad. It's very very insightful interview. It's very very interesting interview. So thank you so much for having me for this
Of
interview.
course. Of course. Thank you
Oh
so much for having me.
Lord. Oh Lord. Okay, CD Bestie, let's wrap up this interview. You can hear all of a kid named Rufus tracks. Just search a kid named Rufus on the all platform social media. Their album Whatever Works is already released on anything. All right. So thank you so much, Rufus, for this interview. Don't forget to subscribe to creativedisc.com on the YouTube, on the Instagram, and anywhere else. Check out the interview on creativedisc.com too. So this is Luthfi and this is Rufus signing out. Bye bye.
Bye.